Okay, good morning. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Wednesday, August 28, 2019 at 9 a.m. We're in the Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. And if you will join us, we always start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I like saying that. Okay. Are you going to sing the Star-Spangled Banner this morning?
I could.
Yeah. All right. Seems like we need to go to the fair more often and break out in song.
We could be the opening day act. Janet used to do that kind of stuff. How come they never ask us?
Well,
I think they heard us sing.
I think there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one person signed up for public comment today. David, welcome. And just for the record, just introduce yourself.
County Commissioners, my name is David Beam. I'm a spokesman for all the disability people in the Salem area. I'd like to see more disability people be on the mental health advisory board for the county. And I'd like to see that done for the next term. Not this term, next term, okay. For all the disability people in Marion County for mental health issues, for ones that needed services. Then they'll come here and testify on what's needed for them, for the county. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, David, for all you do. And I know we do have some representation there now, and in fact, Carrie's here. And
yeah, and I like Carrie. I get along with her real well.
We like Carrie too.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, David. It's good to see you this morning, always.
Thank you.
You got a long sleeve shirt on, and it's going to be 100 degrees out there today.
Well, I like what I'm doing.
All right. Stay cool. Drink lots of water. Okay. Our first item would be the consent calendar, and
Yes,
you guys can argue over who wants to go first.
Chair Cameron, I'd like to make a motion to approve our consent calendar this morning. And in it, under Board of Commissioners, we approve an order appointing Sheriff Joe Cass to the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council and reappointing Mark Collier, Jane Downing, Levy Herrera Lopez, and Representative Rick Lewis with terms ending July 31st, 2022. Public Works approve amendment number 2 to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation adding $326,999.81 of incoming funds for a revised total of $3,087,495, and apparently that same 81 cents for the 45th Avenue Bike and Pedestrian Improvements Project. Sheriff's Office approve amendment number 2 to an intergovernmental agreement with City of Salem to reinstate the work crew agreement, add $64,360 for a revised not to exceed amount of $157,000 of incoming funds, extend the term through August 31st, 2019 to allow the Sheriff's Office to invoice the City of Salem for work crew services, and approve a contract for services with Liberty House for assessment and counseling services retroactive to July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021 with a not to exceed amount of $188,551, and approve the contract for services with Center for Hope and Safety for bilingual advocacy and coordination services retroactive to July 1st, 2019 and again through June 30th, 2021 with a not to exceed amount of $188,551.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Those two numbers, just the Sheriff's Office, are for JRA grant, and the 10% of our Justice Reinvestment Grant goes to victim services, and that's between those two agencies. So, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. That's done. On to our first action item, under Health and Human Services, consider approval of proclamation designated the month of September 2019 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Marion County. You've got a presentation? If you have a slide presentation, you could be here. Yeah, so you can,
I just moved it to general for Dallas.
okay. Welcome.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Carrie Moeller, and I'm the administrator for Marion County Health and Human Services. And with me, Sydney Nestor, Division Director for Behavioral Health, and Dallas.
Alcohol and drug clinician, Marion County.
Sorry, Dallas last name?
Neighbors.
Neighbors, thank you. So good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you again this year with our request for your consideration for proclamation of suicide awareness and prevention. This morning and this proclamation is our commitment to reach every individual in Marion County struggling with or who are supporting people struggling with suicide. That the message is that we can help and that we care. This work and our effort today and throughout this year is in support of the helping individuals live their highest level of health, and that is our expressed mission of the Health and Human Services Department. It is intentional that we're here today, and you'll hear from the group this morning about all of our efforts this year to reach individuals struggling in this community to manage the implications of suicide. So today we see this as our top priority for us in the department and as a critical community partner in addressing this critical public health issue. So more this morning from Sydney and Dallas.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for hearing us. It's estimated that each death by suicide impacts at least 100 other individuals. So to take a look at that from a workplace perspective, I'll kind of use myself as an example. Say I were to die by suicide. My office employs about 45 different people. So that would be at least an impact on those 45. We have nurses, counselors, administrative staff, all kinds of folks that serve the public. In turn, they serve other folks. Each clinician has a caseload. The impact that this may have on them could impact their ability to do their job properly. It's been shown that it impacts productivity and the ability to kind of focus at work. So each one of those clinicians, clients, and individuals can have an impact on them as well. Working in alcohol and drug, that could mean that someone could be underserved and unfortunately then go back out into the public and cause some harm, impacting further people. Our goal is to take a look at workplace impact on suicide prevention. We'd like to educate Marion County employees on suicide science, risks, and interventions. We as a community can be better support to our peers who are struggling. Throughout the various offices and workplaces in Marion County, we'll have placed educated individuals who are designated as a safe person to come to if an employee is struggling with thoughts of suicide. Those workplace site champions will have resources and knowledge to assist their peers and get the assistance that they need to begin healing. I myself am one at my work site, and I've spoken with several folks at my work site since starting this project. It's something that I care deeply about, and I appreciate the effort that you guys are putting in to assist us. So thank you.
Thanks, Dallas.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold this morning. Sydney Nestor, Behavioral Health Division Director. Before I just share a few words, I wanted to point out some of the people we have in our audience. Dallas mentioned that we have a team of staff that we've trained up to provide support to other employees in the department who may have questions or concerns about anything related to suicide prevention. So a few of our Zero Suicide champions are in the room, so I can give a little wave. So you may see that some of us have beads, and so I just want to share with you what those beads signify. So if you see someone at a suicide prevention event who's wearing a white bead, that signifies that they've lost a child to suicide. Red, lost a spouse or a partner. Gold, lost a parent. Orange, lost a sibling. Purple, lost a relative or a friend. Silver, lost a first responder or military member. Green, they've struggled personally with thoughts of suicide. Blue, they support the cause. Or teal, they love someone, a friend or family member who struggles with thinking about suicide. So everything that we do is helping to bring awareness and remove the stigma associated with talking about suicide prevention. This graphic that you have, a thing that we've really focused on this last year with our suicide prevention efforts, in addition to everything we do to support the community, has really been to support our workforce and make sure that our workforce feels really competent and skilled in order to manage things that they come across in the workplace and things that they may experience in their own personal lives. And so you see kind of the person at the center here of the slide and all of the different supports that we have in place for them. I wanted to invite you to participate in an event that we're participating in September. It's called the Out of Darkness Walk. It's not our event, but we're acting as a sponsor. Last year was the first year that Salem hosted this. It's a national event by the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. It happens on September 28th. It's downtown, right on the Capitol steps. There'll be a number of speakers, survivors, and individuals personally impacted by suicide. We'll have a table of resources, and then there's a walk that happens. So if you're interested in joining us, I'm happy to share information, and we are sponsoring a team for that event. We have our Zero Suicide Day, which is happening on September 30th, and we have a national speaker, Dr. Ursula Whiteside, who's one of the founders of Now Matters Now. And she's a researcher and a therapist who's done a lot of work on promoting a variety of skills to serve people who are feeling suicidal. So she'll be talking to our team and then doing some special training for our support staff and our administrative staff, our frontline staff, who are often the most poorly equipped to deal with people who may be calling on the phone or walking in the door and who may be struggling with feelings of suicide. So she'll spend a few hours with them, working with them and helping them build their skills and confidence, and then a few hours with some of our clinicians. And lastly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Connect training. We had a cadre of trainers that were trained up this summer, and we'll be rolling that out this fall across the community. Connect is a training that teaches organizations how to develop their own post-vention plan in case anyone who is involved in their organization, whether someone that served in their organization or someone that works for the organization, is impacted by suicide. So we'll be training up a group in October who will then help us develop our own Marion County Health and Human Services post-vention plan. So in the event that something like that does happen, even since we've just been talking about doing this in the department this summer, we've had a few staff who's have had their personal lives impacted by things associated with suicide prevention. So it's become really clear to us that we need to have a plan so that we all know how to really support our workforce and make sure that they know about all the resources that we have available as a county. So that's kind of what we've got, what we have going on here. I want to just show you two very quick videos.
Marion County. I also have a 25-year-old son who has been battling depression and suicidal thoughts for the majority of his life. He's been in and out of residential and hospitalization. At one point, I received a call from him that he was ready to commit suicide, and it was within minutes of an hour. Luckily, I was one of those that was able to find his location, and when I met up with him, he did not want to go back to the hospital. At this point, we were fortunate to have such a strong natural support network, a community that was willing to wrap around him, church members, the psychiatrist, and his counselor all worked with us in order to keep him out of the hospital. We wrapped around him 24 hours a day for 7 full days until he was able to make it through this tough time that he was having. And for this reason, I am so passionate about prevention Mary Bazell, and I'm a community member here in Marion County, and I serve as a person with lived experience on the Marion County Zero Suicide Court team. After much treatment intervention, I lost my 17-year-old son back in 2012 to suicide. It was a really hard time for my family, and I miss him every day. His loss spurred me to work walking alongside others who are experiencing mental health and developmental disabilities. We saw firsthand the effect that just one suicide has on the community, on friends, family, professionals that work with our son. So those two reasons I am really passionate about prevention and postvention, and why I am a zero suicide champion.
Thank you. So that is all goes to say why we are bringing forward this proclamation for your all review today.
And with that, I'd also like to offer you pendants that represent a suicide prevention effort for you all this morning. And at the end of our presentation, I'd be happy to share them with you.
Great, thank you. Good. Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes, so for
Okay.
your consideration, the proclamation, I think
Right.
you have it in front of you.
It's before us, right. So, is it Commissioner Willis, I believe, is your?
Yeah. Do you have any
Motion.
comments or no?
Well, we can, we're going to go ahead and take a motion, approve the proclamation, and then we'll read the proclamation.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve a proclamation designating the month of September 2019 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Marion County.
I'll second. Commissioner, did you have some comments? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I just, I think this is a really important initiative. You guys are old hands at this, but since I've been here, I've felt we lose a lot of people in Marion County. You know, we've talked about it up in, we have some accidents that happen, and our sheriff, our public works director will send us a note saying, hey, we had a fatal accident, or when somebody dies by suicide, or I've just felt, sort of felt that more. And I realize that every time somebody in our community dies, it affects all of us, and it hurts all of us, and in some way we're all poorer for it. And so I just really appreciate the work you're doing, and I especially appreciate that it's a zero suicide initiative, that it says that we value every single person, and even one suicide is a terrible thing for our community. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you.
Comments?
Well, I don't know if they're really comments. I started to make a list of people I knew who have committed suicide, and it was gaining numbers as I sat here. And the worst of one, it was a cousin. And what strikes me always that he just told me. You know, I'd asked him at Christmas, everything, oh, couldn't be happier, all this kind of stuff. And then you find out after the fact that, well, no, nothing's going too right. But if he'd asked, they could have helped, and they don't give that opportunity. So I don't know where that comes out, but maybe having somebody to turn to, like you're talking about, and remind them that there are people that either care or might actually be able to help. But I think about this cousin quite often, the wonderful times we had, the loss it had, the effect on his son that I worry about next. So it's a bad thing. That's all.
Yeah, like you, I wrote down two people's initials here that they're still with us, but one of them, really good friend I grew up with, I think probably 2 or 3 times. You know, jumped off a roof, still here, and because of mental illness, and was a business partner of mine. And you talk about the effect of the people Dallas did about around you, and then State Representative Raquel Moore Green, her son-in-law did 4 years ago, and it's impacted so many people. Her daughter and her granddaughter, and but I know she'll have a passion when she goes to the legislature about this, and we'll make sure we share this with her too, State Representative. So, yeah, it's not a fun thing at all. And it doesn't matter how we lose people, you're right. I mean, but this is one of those things that's really even harder because you think if you could have intervention at some point in time, you might be able to help somebody with whatever that is they need. And what color beads was it about the thoughts? What color was it?
If
Sydney?
someone has that personally,
Yeah, if you have thoughts.
that is green.
Green? I mean, I should wear them. I mean, there's been days where I go, hey, I really don't want to be here. Huh? No, my point being is I mean, there's been days in my life where I've been so depressed that I couldn't move. And to be able to express that to somebody was hard to do. So, yeah, thank you for being here. We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the proclamation signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we'll read the proclamation. Commissioner, if you want to start.
This comes before the Board of Commissioners of Marion County, Oregon, in the matter of proclaiming the month of September 2019 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Marion County, a proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled public meeting on August 28, 2019. Whereas the health of Marion County residents is of the utmost importance to the well-being of Marion County as a whole, and whereas suicide is a public health issue that requires vigilant attention and preventative action, with 63 deaths by suicide recorded in Marion County during 2018. And
Whereas each death by suicide directly impacts on average 100 other individuals, including family members, friends, loved ones, and by extension, the entire community. And whereas Marion County Health and Human Services is committed to raising awareness, providing education and training on suicide prevention, reducing access to lethal means, and reducing stigma. And whereas the stigma associated with mental health and suicide works against suicide prevention by discouraging individuals at risk for suicide from seeking life-saving help. And
Whereas Marion County Health and Human Services has endeavored to plan and implement the Zero Suicide Initiative across all service areas with the vision that no individuals served by Marion County Health and Human Services will die by suicide, and no single suicide prevention effort will be sufficient or appropriate for all people or communities. All are asked to join together and take a stand to prevent suicide. And whereas Marion County strives to support the health of all residents by promoting prevention and raising awareness of mental health supports available to end suicide in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Marion County Board of Commissioners join with all those involved in raising awareness, providing education and training on suicide prevention, and reducing stigma around suicide, proclaim that the month of September 2019 is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Marion County, dated this 28th day of August 2019. Probably appropriate that there's some silence going on, huh?
yeah, I think so.
We've got a proclamation for you to take, and you want to exchange.
Yes, and can I just finally say how honored and proud I am to work for an organization that is so committed and so passionate to support our work, so thank you.
Appreciate the work you do. But Carrie, you're gonna have to pin this on me because I don't know how to do it. Maybe I should take my jacket off. I'd be bloody already. Oh, perfect.
You did it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
Okay, we got the copy for, they got their copy?
I gave them the copies.
Okay,
Are we
good.
supposed to, I gave them both. Are we
We're
supposed to keep one?
one.
I think
Oh.
one comes back to us.
I gave them both to Carrie.
All right. Thanks, Brenda. Thanks to your team.
Thank you.
Well, Brian, you ready to move on? Under Public Works, consider approval of a purchase order contract with Gresham Ford in the amount of $553,451.56 for the purchase of
I
16
know, I gotta ask.
police interceptors as part of an annual scheduled light-duty replacement plan for the Marion County Consolidated Fleet Management Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Nicholas, Public Works Director. Sorry, we got to follow that up with shop talk with buying some vehicles. But so we have before you is a proposed purchase order to purchase a total of 16 vehicles for the sheriff's fleet. 14 of those would go to replacing existing interceptor vehicles. 2 of those 16 are actually new vehicles to the fleet, and they're dedicated for the East Salem Service District. So they would support the new staffing that's coming online for East Salem Service District. Those vehicles in the fleet, we start considering police vehicles for replacement at about the 4-year mark. So all of these vehicles have sort of hit their target of where maintenance costs start to eclipse other costs of ownership. So these 14 have been tagged for replacement because of that. So this is a total, later this year, the fleet replacement plan includes another purchase of 17 vehicles for the sheriff's fleet, and that will complete the vehicle purchase plan for this fiscal year for the sheriff's office. So this is about the first half of that purchase. We'd make the second half of that purchase in a different purchase order later this year, maybe in about 5 or 6 months.
So, Brian, I have a question. There's a lot of Ford dealers in Marion County. Why are we at Gresham Ford with this? Can you tell us why we end up that way?
Yep. Well, these vehicles are purchased off of the state price agreement, and Gresham Ford is the winner of that price agreement. So,
And I wanted to ask you about that because I was curious about how the mechanism of that works. I think because I'm new. So
Go ahead.
does it go through the state? How does the bid process work?
well, fortunately, the way our procurement rules are written, it's we get to take advantage of those kind of competitive procurements that state and some other partner agencies make. So we can, our procurement rules, as long as there is a competitive purchase made that complies with our procurement rules, it could be a state agency, it could be a federal agency. It could even be another governmental agency like another county if they're a partner agency. Our procurement rules let us piggyback on that agreement. So we don't actually have to execute a contract with the state of Oregon to buy them, but we can use the pricing that is in their pricing agreement. So we take advantage of letting other agencies go and do all that legwork to do a large competitive bid for these kind of vehicles, and then we use that to establish our pricing.
So does the state say, I need this type of vehicle, who's going to offer it to
That's
me
exactly
at the best
what they
price? And then all the dealers in the whole state can apply for that. And then if Gresham Ford wins it, they agree to basically sell as many vehicles at that price of that type to the state as, is that
Yeah,
kinda
close
how
to
that
that.
works?
There's usually some maxes, some maximum purchase limits on those agreements. So we make sure we work with, in this instance, it's the state price agreement that we're using. And then the state will price out literally dozens and dozens of different types of vehicles. And so it could be one agency is providing S10 pickups and another agency is providing vehicles like the ones that we're proposing to purchase here. So there could still be quite a mix across that whole state fleet procurement process. There might be a dozen or more suppliers that have price agreements.
So did Gresham Ford promise to sell so many, what are they called, interceptors to the state, and then we're buying some of those? Is that how that works, or is it sort of?
No,
you said there was like a limit.
We're using their competitive purchase process, and then we're going to issue our own contract. So we typically issue a county contract, and we don't even have an agreement with the state. But we have a partnering agreement with the state that allows us to recognize the competitive purchasing process that they use to establish that pricing.
I see. So because this is the price the state established with you, we can go to you directly and say, hey, you agreed to sell the state this car for this amount. You can sell us this car for this amount.
That's
Is that
exactly
how that works?
right.
I see. Got it.
So I guess I still have a question. Could we,
Or should we?
could we take this price, could we put out a request for proposal with a price in it, right? In other words, we're buying, I'm just looking at two of them for 69,000, whatever. So could we put out a request for proposal to, and I guess maybe we can't limit, I don't know, Canberra, we can't limit it just to Marion County dealers, right? We couldn't say, hey, we can buy these things for this. Do you want to match that price to the Ford dealers in Marion County? Is that, I'm
Sure,
looking
we
at
could
legal
do that.
counsel.
I think you could put out a bid and see what comes in and see if it's cheaper. But it's probably not going to be, but you could see what comes in.
But your perspective, Brian, is that would be more work for us? Is that sort of the?
It would. The competitive procurement work is already done, and so it's an expedient way of getting those vehicles purchased. And yeah, that's a more detailed question for finance to weigh into.
Well, can we follow up with
Yeah,
finance?
we got some more to buy. Let's look in and just see. I mean, you're assuming, and Jane's assuming the state contract is so much better. And I know you always get into apples and oranges, is this the same vehicle, et cetera. But a little query might show the possibility of being able to purchase locally at the same price. I don't know that, neither do you.
That's true. We haven't done our own competitive.
We can talk to finance.
It'd be worth finding out.
Do a little research there. It'd be great to support our people who are paying property taxes to actually have our sheriff deputies.
So if I could interrupt
Yes.
here. So it looks like it's about $30,000 for these vehicles, but.
35.
So 35? So how much more to outfit them ready for the road and ready for our duty? That much more again?
Oh, I should have came prepared with that number. I don't have that number. I think it's maybe around $4,000 to equip them with multi-band radios and then all the lighting package that needs.
Oh, that doesn't
Now,
sound
but
very high.
computer, I don't have the number for you, but I can get that for you.
I'm just curious, but if you run across it, I would like to know.
All right,
All right,
a lot of vehicles.
so
Maybe we can do ride-alongs in each one of them at some point in time.
they went away from the smooth, nice Tahoes, but they don't make them anymore. That's what I was told, for that purpose, which I don't quite understand. Explorer's a smaller vehicle.
We can put lights on your Tahoe.
Everybody they get pretty serious when I come driving around the corner. I see it.
As fast as you drive, I get out of the way.
It's that Oregon State sticker on the back.
Jane?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was looking at the quote, and it looks like the car they're buying is called a Police Interceptor Utility. So it sounds like it comes in with a lot of the stuff that they already need. So that would be what we would need to bid for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motor package and the suspension and all that stuff, so.
Right.
When they
This represents about replacement of about 7% of the sheriff's fleet.
Really?
The plan in this fiscal budget is to replace about 14% this fiscal year of the sheriff's fleet in the two
Wow.
purchases.
They got a lot of cars. Cars, trucks, whatever. What do you call those things? SUVs. Okay, did we make a motion?
No, I wanted to.
Oh, well, let's talk some more. Go ahead.
Chair Cameron, I'd make a motion that we do approve the purchase order and allow the purchasing of 16 vehicles from Gresham Ford for the Sheriff Department.
I'll second the motion.
My motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Also under Public Works, consider approval of a purchase order contract with Mccoy Freightliner of Portland in the amount of $180,169 for the purchase of one Freightliner dump truck built to specification as part of Public Works Continuing Equipment Replacement Plan.
All right. So before you have a purchase order for the purchase of this dump truck, and for a little context, The intent of this purchase is to replace a 1991 vintage dump truck. So if you, we still have 3 of these kicking around the fleet. They're the old yellow ones. So if you see a yellow dump truck with a Marion County placard, this is one of the 3 that's scheduled to get replaced this year. We replaced one last year, and the fleet replacement plan, the heavy fleet replacement plan, is to replace one of these a year over this course of these 4 years, and we're in year number 2 of that. So this particular vehicle, we do have periods where we fully utilize the dump truck fleet. So downsizing right now, at least how we're doing our maintenance work, we've got the right number of dump trucks to do the maintenance work that we do every summer. We'll be looking at whether adjustments to that number should be made, and changes in how we do our work should be made over the next budget cycle. But for the time being, this is we're proposing to go ahead and carry out that heavy equipment replacement program as we have it budgeted and scheduled. This particular truck, it's nearing 30 years old. It's got about 300,000 miles on it, and this is the one that sits on the deadline. That's when a truck breaks down, it sits on the deadline while the replacement part's coming in, and then it gets replaced. This is the one where it's tipped well past that maintenance schedule, where owning it and maintaining it has really turned into a burden. So we're trying to get those older ones out of the fleet. And they always seem to break down right in the middle of they don't break down on your way back to the shop. They break down with the rock in the bucket, and you got to deal with all of that. So this is one that is ready for replacement.
This may have been the one that we stuck in the ditch when I was on the snowplow. That's probably what the problem is.
I can see your fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
For that concept, Norman Mailer wrote a book, The Psychology of Machines, and that's just what it is. I'm just curious. I didn't hear how the legislation ended up, or if it even excluded governments and stuff, but on the diesel engine replacement, are we under some mandate to update? Is this part of it, or was it government excluded?
We are not.
Okay.
The only legislation that managed to pass this cycle only applies to the Portland metro area. So we dodged that bullet this year.
And is there a market? What do you do with a 1991 Freightliner?
Oh, it goes to auction, and we'll get some sort of auction value out of it.
Through the state resales?
No, we use, I believe we're using govdeals.com to auction off our used vehicles now.
All right, fine.
I was reviewing this agenda last night, and I was like, this is like a little boy's dream. You get to buy police cars and a dump truck in one board session.
Wait till it's time to replace the crane.
I was just saying, I don't know about buying them, I just want to get on them and play on them.
Yep.
All right, you want to make
It's
the
my
motion?
motion. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the purchase order contract with Mccoy Freightliner of Portland in the amount of $180,169 for the purchase of one Freightliner dump truck built to specification as part of the Public Works Continuing Equipment Replacement Plan.
Second.
No, motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Under Treasurer's Office, I see Lori sitting there patiently. Consider approval of a contract for services Retail Lockbox, Inc. for lockbox services supporting the Treasurer's Office and the Assessor's Office through June 30th, 2024, with a not-to-exceed amount of $125,000. I assume this is where I send my property tax payments.
Good morning, Commissioners. It probably is where you're sending your property tax payments. I'm Lori Steele, the Marion County Treasurer, and you heard a little bit about this process during the budget cycle when we were presenting budgets. I was talking about the lockbox. Marion County has been using U.S. Bank as our lockbox processor for taxes for more than 15 years. A retail lockbox, if you don't know, is a service that collects payments. They collect them for us. They image the checks and the remittance coupons, and then they send us a file of the payments that we can just load into our tax system. They also provide us access to the images and the checks, the images of the checks and the remittance paperwork. Last year, U.S. Bank processed just over 50,000 records for Marion County for tax payments, totaling more than $174 million. They processed payments for us in November, February, and in May. Early this year, U.S. Bank let me know that they will no longer be keeping their retail lockbox business. I immediately began working on an RFP to find a new lockbox processor for Marion County. And when I say I mostly mean Jacob Klotfelter from Finance. We have a very small department in the Treasurer's Office, and Jeff graciously let Jacob take over that process for me. He wrote the RFP with my assistants and Rex Wiesner from the Tax Office. I very quickly learned the reason U.S. Bank could no longer sustain their retail lockbox process. Advancements in technology has made the in-house processing affordable and easy, and a lot of companies are now doing their own processing in-house. Several counties in Oregon are doing in-house processing, and I went to 2 of the counties and looked at their way that they were processing payments in May. Became familiar with the technology and the software that was available. And after looking at all of our options, I've decided that, at least currently, it would be prudent for Marion County to continue with a vendor for a lockbox processor. Washington and Clackamas counties had also been using U.S. Bank, and they asked to participate in our RFP process. So our panel consisted of myself, Jacob Klotfelter from Finance, Noah Olson from Legal Counsel, Rex Wiesner and Mike Engberg from the Tax Office, Eric Hendrick from Information Technology, Gary Hubbard and Teresa Ellis from Washington County, and Brian Nava from Clackamas County. We had 5 vendors respond to our RFP, and we interviewed 2 finalists. Everyone on the panel selected Retail Lockbox as their favorite, and that's the contract that I'm bringing to you today. Retail Lockbox is from Seattle, Washington, and they currently have many other local government clients. They process property taxes for nearly half of the counties in Washington. It may be more than half. And they're doing business with several Oregon counties. Retail Lockbox recently made a substantial investment in upgraded technology as well as expanding their facilities, and they're ready, willing, and able to take on Marion County as well as any other Oregon counties that may wish to transition their lockbox services. Both Clackamas and Washington counties are anxiously waiting for our contract to be adopted so they can use the cooperative language to begin their contracting process with Retail Lockbox as well. So I'm asking you to consider approval of the contract for services with Retail Lockbox for lockbox services supporting Treasurer and Assessor's Office through June 30th of 2024 with the not-to-exceed amount of $125,000. Do you have any questions?
Commissioner.
So Lori, I think you got at it, and I'm sorry, I just didn't hear. But this is about enough to pay for an employee. It wouldn't be a full-time job. Checks would come to Marion County and not look like they're handled elsewhere. It seems like we might, just tell me why not, but it seems like we'd be just as well to do it in-house and have that person available probably half a day for other functions. So do you give that some thought? Maybe you mentioned, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear.
I didn't go into too much detail, but I did very thoroughly explore that, and I very heavily considered looking at bringing this in-house. The issue for us would be the scanners would have to be in the Treasurer's Office. We wouldn't need a full-time staff person all year. We would really need to bump up staff time in the fall when we were doing the processing. We potentially wouldn't even need to bump up during the February and May payments, but certainly in November it would take more than 1 extra person. We think it would take 3 extra people to process our November payments in-house. One of the things I would like to explore would be to purchase just 1 scanner and have the Treasurer's Office start processing the February and May payments in-house, get some experience with that, and work with the Tax Office and Assessor's Office to see if it's something that we think near the end of this contract we can start doing ourselves in-house. We would need 3 scanners instead of just 1 if we were going to do our November payments. We would need it's a high-speed letter opener, the one that's used by 2 other counties right now in Oregon for their in-house process. It's about an $8,000 letter opener, 3 scanners, and probably 3 extra staff in the month of November. It's something I'm very interested in considering in the future.
Well, I know you've had a little bit, at least I feel you've had a little bit of coverage problems, and this would provide an opportunity with some potential. And I'm sorry, I ran a garbage business with monthly billings, and we didn't have any high-speed scanner, and it wasn't that hard to open and credit the payments.
So I just want to be clear, this is $125,000, but this contract's over 5 years, so it's about
Oh,
$25,000 a year is what I'm reading.
okay,
this
I'm
to be.
reading it wrong.
Is that, am I
changes.
accurate?
You are accurate. Because we haven't done
Okay.
business with a processor like this before, we've always used a bank. There's going to be some of the services that we still pay the bank for, and then services that we're going to pay retail lockbox for that we've not had at the bank. So there's a bit of unknown of what the costs will actually be. We've done our best to dial in everything that we know, but the tax office has asked retail lockbox to do some things that they don't usually do for their customers. So a little bit of that pricing is still unknown. So this contract is in excess of what I think we will need. The other thing is, this is a 5-year contract, and there is an opportunity potentially for the treasurer's office to use this lockbox service for other payments that we're getting today in the office that could be processed through the
Yeah,
retail lockbox
I apologize,
contract.
$25,000 a year, no, but $125,000, that's the number I was.
Yeah, if it was 125 a year, we'd.
Oh, no,
seriously
that's
look
for
at
the
it.
life of the
I
contract,
get it.
125.
That changes things.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
sorry about that
I thought
confusion.
that might be it. And it starts, I was trying to figure out when it starts, because it starts when? This-
January 1. So we have US Bank as our processor through December 31st, and then they're closing their lockbox, and January 1 of 2020 is
Right.
when we will enter into business with retail lockbox.
Okay.
All right. So Chair Cameron, I make a motion, looking for the nice recommendation here, that we approve the contract for services with Retail Lockbox Incorporated.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
So I'll just blame the new contractor when my payment's late.
Probably don't even have to make it this year.
Oh, yes, we do. You know that. You know, it'll be in the front page of the paper if it's late. Okay. Brandon is here. It is past 9:30. We have a
Excuse me.
scheduled public hearing for 9:30. I'm going to open a public hearing to consider amendments to Marion County Urban Renewal Zone Codes adopting revised Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA floodplain maps for the city of Turner. So, there's one for you. We have, Brandon, do you want to just get us started?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Brandon Reich, staff representing the Planning Division of Public Works. After the flooding that Turner experienced in January 2012, the city requested a reevaluation of its floodplain maps in the city and land nearby. The city worked with a consultant to develop a new study of the floodplain, and Marion County staff has been participating in the remapping process. This new study applies new, more accurate topographic information, and as a result of the study, the floodway and floodplain will widen in locations and narrow in others, and base flood elevations will generally increase. The Code of Federal Regulations states that the Federal Insurance Administrator provide the local floodplain mapping upon which our floodplain management regulations are based. In April this year, FEMA notified the county that new flood insurance maps go into effect on October 18, 2019. Marion County must adopt the revised maps provided by FEMA and regulate development to the new maps in order for this county and its citizens to be able to continue participating in the National Flood Insurance Program. Marion County and the City of Turner have jointly held public meetings. We've mailed notices to property owners, published notices in the paper, and worked with individual property owners on considerations regarding their individual property because of the changes in the mapping. We've done this over a period of probably 5 years. The outreach has helped people affected understand the changes these new maps mean for their property, and also to consider purchasing flood insurance early in order to retain better grandfathered insurance premiums before the new maps go into effect. Since the date this hearing was scheduled, it's come to my attention that there is a new additional review that FEMA performs on the local floodplain code prior to adoption. This review is performed by the State Floodplain Coordinator, who was not aware that the county, as well as Turner and the city of Salem, were all adopting revised floodplain maps. The coordinator has performed her review of county code and has offered additional amendments which FEMA requires that the county adopt to be able to continue participating in the National Flood Insurance Program. We discussed this briefly on Monday, and I found out a little bit more since then. I haven't reviewed all the code proposed, but this appears to be happening across the state, and different communities, jurisdictions are being told they have 31 days to adopt new floodplain code. And generally, maybe 95% of the revisions, or 98% even, are just text changes that FEMA wants to see specific language from the Code of Federal Regulations in the local code. In our instance, we have more days than 31 days, and I am going to use that time to work with legal counsel to get a good grasp on the changes that are coming and to really be able to inform the board about the substantive changes that would come with the code. And if necessary, push back on the state some and be able to provide the board different options on those substantive changes to consider. I've noticed already that there's one change that will make it easier down the road. There's not a variance that's required for the specific type of floodplain development where it was before. So there's some changes that are just kind of all sorts of different types of changes like that. Planning recommends the board, after receiving any testimony today, continue this hearing to October 2nd, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. That hearing would include the code amendments that FEMA is recommending. And that date, the proposed date, is to give time for additional consideration and to develop options for the board to consider when possible. So planning recommends the board continue the hearing to October 2nd. And with that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Yeah.
Brandon, I've always just assumed this was the Turner and Mill Creek area that we're talking about, but this has implications wider across the valley, the county, with the change in language, et cetera?
That's what we're going to carefully look at. It looks like it isn't intended to have any changes beyond what the minimum requirements are for FEMA.
And then I had and I'm sorry I'm not good for details, but I had a conversation with Tillamook County commissioners some time ago and talking about FEMA imposing things on them, and they were able to push back. And I wonder if you could just check for me with your equivalent there at Tillamook County and see if they have some experience with this and give a little insight what it really means. This is going through my head that I've seen it before.
Sure, I'll find that out.
That's all.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Any questions?
I don't. I'd be happy to make a motion.
Close and continue, is that what
Yeah,
we're doing?
we're closing.
No, not close.
We're going to continue the
Continue the
public hearing. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we continue our public hearing to October 2nd, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. To consider amendments to the Marion County Urban and Rural Zone Codes adopting the revised Federal Emergency Management Agency floodplain maps for the city of Turner.
Second.
We have a motion to continue, and we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your work, Brandon. We need certified smart people like you that understand this stuff and can explain it.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
I know, you do a great job doing it. Thank you, we appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our business for the day. So, Commissioners, you want to read that really long calendar?
This is the shortest
Like-
calendar
It's
I've
like
had.
the shortest
Yeah,
calendar. It's
read
like-
slowly, 'cause
is
I
it
won't be
Christmas
done
or
with
what?
this.
It's like,
It's
are we on
feeling pretty
vacation?
good. Today is August 28th. It's Wednesday, and we just completed board session here in the Senator Hearing Room. Tomorrow at 9 in the morning, that's Thursday, August 29th, we have a continuity of operations plan tabletop exercise located in the Commissioner's Boardroom on the 5th floor of this building at 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. On Monday, September 2nd, we are closed in observance of Labor Day. However, I guess I should note the county never closes,
Oh, no.
but I guess the board's office will be closed that day. On Wednesday, September 4th at 9 in the morning, we have board session again located in this room. This is the Senator Hearing Room on the 1st floor of 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. And then Wednesday at noon, on September 4th, we have the Woodburn Marion County meeting located at Luis's Taqueria at 523 Front Street in Woodburn. That's it.
Must mean we're like,
That's it.
get some work done. Staff can get some work done if we're that,
If we're not bugging them all the
yeah,
time.
we're not bugging them. Yeah.
Yeah, Jane, you haven't been too lonely over there in the legal department without me interrupting you every 5 minutes, have you?
It's all good.
Commissioner Brentano, when you were talking about Tillamook and the floodplain, I had this vision of cows floating around.
It's happened.
In the I know.
96, some of those dairies around there built.
They lost a lot of,
They lost cows, and they built kind of hills where they literally can drive them to in the future. And then they've spent a whole lot of money. Oh, they had
with the dikes and stuff they built up, right?
right, but they've let those kind of go. But they had a system of drainage, oh gosh, I don't know what, they had gates on them that was supposed to drain the water away. And they scrapped them about 3 years ago. And this year, when had rainfall that normally would have flooded 101, it just didn't do it. So apparently, it's better just to
Let it flow.
leave it natural and let it get out of there. But they have a lot of issues with water there, certainly.
Did you see where they were being sued?
Tillamook?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Marble Murrelet, something else.
No, about where their milk actually comes from or something like that.
Tillamook
The marketing.
cream, yeah. These people, they just look for any opportunity they can to trip you up. You've been out to the house in Tillamook, all those dairies around there, and I watch them. They're happy cows, as they say. Try to discredit them, and it's just a dirty trick.
Yeah, it's just,
Well, they shouldn't do that.
No.
there's too many attorneys in this world.
I agree.
Yeah, look at you two.
Two of them
Yeah,
sitting
two
next to
out
us.
of 50% everywhere you go.
These are good attorneys though over here.
I tell you what, we couldn't do anything without our attorneys.
Yeah.
Oh,
More garbage men and hamburger flippers. Keep the world square.
well, see, I'm gonna go, I went to the fair Friday night.
Speedwagon, was that the deal?
No, it was Dustin Lynch, put on a great show. Took my daughters, both my daughters, and one of my daughter's friends, and we had a good time. And then they wanted to play skeet ball.
Skeet ball?
Yes, you know where you roll it up the
Oh,
ramp?
sure,
and-
yeah, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it skee ball?
Yeah,
Skee
Tammy's
ball.
good at
Yeah.
it. I don't play it anymore.
Is it SKEE?
Mhm.
Yeah, skee ball.
Skee ball.
Yeah. And I hadn't played in a long time. Of course, they knew Dad was the best, but one of my daughters won a stuffed animal.
Hey,
she
there
had
you
fun,
go.
and I didn't. And curly fries.
It's tough to beat.
It was good. I worked out this morning because I'm going to go. I went last night.
Marionberry Shake still available?
Oh, yeah.
I could go for
Last
that.
night was, Marty Stewart and Steve Miller Band.
Oh, there you go.
Those were in our days, right?
Oh, I've heard of them. It's still not my deal.
Fly Like an Eagle, you know, that song.
Fine.
And then tonight I'm gonna go, and I've had these, I bought these tickets when I first heard it, is Brett Young. I don't know if anybody knows Brett Young, but he's a country guy. He sings some really good ballads.
Are they getting good crowds? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, in fact, I saw Mike, who runs the fair, runs the expo center and the fair last night, and I said, how's this heat affecting you? And you know what? It wasn't, I had shorts and a t-shirt on, and flip-flops, and it was not that bad. I wasn't sweating because we had the wind a little bit,
Yes.
and it was dry. So, he said, we got yesterday and today of the 2 hot days. The theater was packed both nights I was there, and Friday night it was crowded outside. We walked around after the concert, so they're having some decent weather
Good.
and some good crowds. And Friday night was $2 to get in. So,
That's pretty good.
and then Monday will be, if you're a first responder or military, you get in free. It'll be packed Monday for Labor Day. So the fair's going on. Hopefully people can go over and enjoy that. And have some good curly fries. And what is the other one? Not elephant ears.
They're good.
Is that what it is? Elephant
I don't say no to those.
ears? Elephant ears?
Go get us some, would you?
Yeah, and lots of goats and pigs and all that stuff, so.
Well, you may find this hard to believe, but I start seriously fishing at Labor Day. This has just been preliminary.
Is that,
Oh, yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
This is when it's game time coming up
Yes.
here, huh?
Well,
September.
And boats have to be, in the Detroit Lake Marina had to be out last weekend. He's still got a few in there. I don't know how those people are. I was looking when I
Oh,
went
what-
across the bridge.
Oh, that they
Right
can't even
bush.
get them out of,
If they're
docks.
not out this weekend, they're gonna be trouble. And then, yeah, he moved a bunch of his docks, and then, Kane's has to be out Monday.
Wow.
And last weekend, they were actually putting in a new ramp. It is really, really going down.
I know it is, but this had to be the best season they've had in a few years, isn't it? At least it's
yeah,
water through Labor Day has
yes.
always been the goal. They got some.
Yes, and last year, I think it was the week before Labor Day, it had to come out. So, yeah, this has been a
So that helps.
good year, and you can look down there, and all their slips were full. I mean, I think it's really been a good year for them, so we just got to get that stuff excavated. That'll help them. What else is going on? Fishing, huh? Are they catching some?
No, but I get serious now.
They will, though, in September.
That's why they call it fishing.
This next week.
Not catching. They don't.
Not catching. They don't call it catching.
They don't call it catching. They call
I
it fishing.
shouldn't tell this story for everybody, but I fished hard since, I do most every weekend, and haven't caught anything since May. And the one I finally caught a week ago was just a fluke, just giving up. I said, oh, fine, I ripped my pole back and there's one on it. So I don't know what to tell you.
You know what? Yesterday, it took me over 15 minutes on hold with ODF and W.
Oh, did you get
I
through?
felt like I was at the old DMV. DMV's good now, but I finally got through. The lady was really nice. She gives me my old license number. I cannot buy salmon tags online.
Why not?
Tammy had the same
I
problem
don't
just 2
know.
weeks ago.
In fact, I'm gonna
Go to Bymart.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're gonna play hardball.
I'm gonna play hardball.
you're gonna
I'm
go
gonna
to
say,
the
I looked
agency.
everywhere I'm gonna send them an email and saying, I'm going fishing. I can't get my salmon tags online, so if I get busted, you guys are gonna pay.
Now, you got two attorneys here, and I think they're gonna tell you that isn't gonna work for you. Go, DMV's right out there in
Not
South Salem.
DMV.
No, well, you know what I'm talking about, Fish and Wildlife. Go there, they'll take care of you.
I can't believe those guys.
But I don't
She
know
was
what you
really
do.
nice, and she got me to the point where I could buy my license, so I bought my, hunting and fishing license, my
But
combo.
then Salmon Tag didn't wanna
I
go?
couldn't find salmon tags. There was the Columbia, what is that, Columbia?
Rip off where you have to pay extra to fish that.
But if I'm fishing on the Siletz
You
or the
don't need
Wilson,
it.
I don't need it, so I didn't buy it.
Do you think Sam's hoarding them? Do you think that's why they're not available?
It might have been my old phone fouling them up. It's, it's real
You buy the
possible.
Sportsman's package, the
No.
ones, okay, because I think that includes them, but it
Yeah,
was
I think so.
$169. I wasn't gonna pay that. Gosh, those guys are,
It's a problem. I chewed them. I went right in there and chewed them out.
Good job.
Yeah, I might do it again now, for your sake, not mine.
I should go over, it's over in Industrial Park.
Yes.
Yeah, I should go over there and
They're
say, look,
nice.
I've spent 20
nice
minutes on the
building.
phone. I got my license, and show me on this app where, and I even went on their website, and went in and tried to find it, and I cannot find
Yeah, there you go. That's worth doing.
salmon
I
tags.
shouldn't tell the rest of the story. So I'm chewing them out, and they say, "Oh, do you know that you're eligible for the Pioneer license?" So they practically give it to me. So it worked out good.
What's the?
Oh, I forget. You're 65 and
Oh, yeah,
lived
she
here
said
so
that to
long.
me. She goes, make
Do you
sure
get
your
it- Do you
date.
get it for the rest of your life? Or
Yeah,
How
So you
much
never
was
have to
it?
go back again?
not very much.
How much was it?
$6 or something.
'Cause-
Salmon tags are still extra if I remember
Oh, she
right.
did say that to me. She goes, when was your first time in the state? And I said, well, it was 1978. And she goes, and I said, but I said, I've been here since 1988. She goes, well, I've been back since 1988. She goes, well, when did you first come here? And I said, 1978. Actually, I came here before that, but never got a driver's license. But 1978, she goes, well, that should be your date, because after so many years, how many years?
Well,
Is it
whatever,
30?
78 up here. I thought it was 50, but I'm not sure.
Then you get it, and you're eligible for the Pioneer.
I'm going to find that out.
And what does it let you do?
I think it pays your fishing and hunting license and tags are extra if I have it right.
for life,
Well, it's like $6 or something
every year.
That's pretty good.
It's for old people.
Don't,
They have all-
I didn't want to bring it up, just,
You know, it's
you
like-
know what?
You
I
know,
was feeling
it's a-
sorry for you early in the meeting. I thought, you know what, Kevin, if you ever need help, I'll be there for you. Now, I don't feel that way.
No,
I'll still be there.
no, I'm there. I'm there too. Where was I the other day? And I didn't even ask for it, and I got the senior discount. Right? It's like I looked at my receipt, and it was like a 10% discount.
We better close this up
I
before
would
they
feel sorry
realize
for
we're
you,
just old
except that
fogies.
yesterday's meeting, I believe that
But
you
here's the
said, you know,
deal.
this is for the kid.
Well, here's the deal. My kids are all grown and gone. You know, I don't have to. But I'm looking at you with what do you have? 4? 4 children, young guy. He's the one that needs the discount.
I know it.
That's true.
I always think that's backwards.
Well,
Seniors,
so-
seniors have the money.
Well, it's true. It's true. I was thinking
Most
about
of
it.
it,
I was
so.
thinking about it today, and I was looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there was I realized it's something a small number of people actually raise most of the kids in America. Something like 20% of the population raises 75% of the kids, and so I was thinking about that, and I thought, you know, it is a situation where you actually have a minority population that's doing a really important service to our community, right? Because those are the kids those are the people that are going to pay Social Security over time. Those are the folks that, and so if those people aren't supported,
Right.
and you're seeing that with the younger generation not having kids, you can get to a situation like Japan where they have real problems, you know.
So listen to the radio coming back last night would change that opinion of what you think of yourself, because apparently your generation is raising a young group of socialists who won't be paying anything. 'Cause they don't work.
Like any generation, Commissioner, there are many different points of view and political persuasions. Just like I wouldn't
Would you hang this up so I don't say anything really bad?
dare to
We will
judge
adjourn.